We are live. It always takes, I know, yay. It always takes a minute for it to fully set up, but hi everyone. I hope you can see us. We're going to give everyone a minute or two to join, but if you're there, give us a like or a heart or, share a comment with us. Let us know where you're calling from. What city are you in right now? Are you at work? Are you at home? Let us know. Okay. So some quick logistics before we get started, because I love covering the logistics, making sure everybody's fully up to speed on what's going on. Leah and I are calling in from Zoom. So there's always a slight delay with Zoom. So I'm going to be toggling back and forth from the Zoom screen to the Facebook screen because I really want to make sure that we're capturing all of your comments and all of your questions. So this is going to be as interactive as you want it to be. So feel free to please jump in. Let us know if you're there. Let us know what questions you have. This is a great chance to have anything answered. But okay. So I think with that, we can go ahead and get started. But hi, everyone. One thing that I've been noticing in our community, which has been growing with just so many amazing women. Hi, Lori. Good to see you here. We have so many amazing women in the group, and most of you are in transition, women who are looking to get clear on your mission and looking to do work that you love, that you've really connected to and excited about. I've shared this actually with Leah before, and talk about this all the time, but I really feel that our work should be a manifestation of who we are. And if that were to be the case, how amazing would that be, right? Whatever it is we're creating or putting out there is a representation of who we are deep down. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about loving your job with Leah Neumoff, who is an amazing member in the Work Bigger community. Leah, you have contributed so much to what Work Bigger is today, so I'm especially excited to have you here. Leah and I connected a long time ago now when we launched, when I started writing, which Work Bigger didn't really exist then. I remember participating in a webinar with Leah League, which is another career platform, and I think that's how we connected. You reached out to me. And, from there, we've had the opportunity to work together, and I've seen such a massive shift in you. So that's why I'm really excited for this call. But, we announced the Work Bigger program that opened this week. We're starting in a couple of weeks. So I am just really excited to talk about that, to talk about Leah's transition, her experience in the program, and really what it's like to love your work, to be in action, and to make an impact. And to really, when your work is a manifestation of who you are, what that looks like and what that feels like. So we're going to do, also just a heads up, we're going to do some more calls like this in the coming week with other Work Bigger members, and just super excited for everyone to get to know each other better. So with that, I'm going to take a pause and officially welcome you, Leah. Hi.
Hi.
So give us some background. Tell us a little bit about you, where you live, what your work situation is right now, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So I am living and working in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I actually live in a suburb of Ohio. So I'm not down in the city. I'm about 20 miles out, and I've lived in this area all my life. I have done some traveling, but I kind of stay here. And so I went to school here. I went to a Catholic high school called Ursuline Academy, and they had a really extensive art program. And so having grown up really liking drawing and coloring and stuff, and I spent a lot of time at like my great grandmother's house when I was a kid. I was always coloring, making stories, watching TV with her, and that sort of translated as I grew up. I was like, you know what, it's what I want to do, and I've always kind of thought that. I never really took it seriously until after I participated in the program. Well, I mean, I guess taking it to art school is kind of taking it seriously, but there's more to the story. So I did the whole program through high school. Took a year off after high school, actually, because I graduated at 17, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm so young. I want to go to college at 18, and my parents were like, yeah, that's fine. They just let me do it. So I just went ahead and, whatever. But I went to art school. I got into the Columbus College of Art and Design, where I spent 2 years studying fine art and painting. And most of that was fundamental courses. They were really technical. And so a lot of the like drawing classes, a lot of the painting classes were very rigid, and there wasn't a lot of room for, I think, self-expression. It was really like, here, draw this model as they look, as they're standing here, and you couldn't really like alter a lot of the things that you were doing. And the biggest thing that really drove me to transfer to the Art Academy of Cincinnati, where I graduated, was finances. The school was like, you owe us, you know, all this money and stuff. And I was like, oh, we don't have that. So I transferred. But ultimately, the transfer was amazing because Art Academy of Cincinnati was such a better fit for me. It was a smaller school, and they were way more about that self-expression that I was talking about CCAD missing. So it was more, who are you? What are you bringing to your work? What are you trying to say? And so that was where I really started to fall in love with taking what I've experienced in my life, what I'm feeling, and transferring that into what I'm making with my artwork. So I graduated there in 2013. And after that, I just kind of stopped making work. And it was because I really started to kind of listen to some of the people around me saying, this isn't practical, don't do this, you're going to be a starving artist, and whatever, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And I really wasn't doing things from a place of value. I wasn't understanding why I was doing the things that I was doing. And so I went ahead and took all of that advice, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do this, and just listening to the shoulds and the you need to. And that's something that I finally have moved away from. But I went ahead and was listening to people. I went to a community college for business technologies, which is actually how I landed the job that I'm working now with SVN Rycor. That is a commercial real estate investment firm. And I work in the marketing department, and I'm at the front desk. So I'm kind of the face and doing a lot of different things with the company. I'm kind of like a concierge for the people that work here. And that's, it's okay. It's not art, but it pays the bills. So I'm here and I'm doing my thing. And yeah, I actually ended up dropping out of Cincinnati State. And I think that was really a huge, huge turning point for me. That was me listening to myself saying, this isn't serving me anymore, and saying, I'm going to stop doing it. And at that time, that's about when I started the little things in company sort of side hustle that I originally started to get together. And that was around the beginning of 2017. And as 2017 was going on, I was kind of messing with that, but I didn't really have a product, and my idea was sort of loose, and I really felt like I was losing myself, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and things were really confusing at the time. And that's about when I think I found your blog, and I saw the interview that you did with Leah, and I was like, man, I had to reach out to this girl. I just want to get some advice and see what you had to say. And yeah, so we connected. That was amazing. And then you told me all about the program, and right away I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. But then cost was a factor for me personally. I've been kind of struggling financially. Who isn't, you know? And so I said, you know, I put it off and I put it off. And then finally I went ahead and did the program in the fall of last year. And that was a huge turning point for me. And that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that. If you see me looking back and forth, it's because this happens during every interview. As you're talking, I'm like taking notes and thinking too about just new questions that come up. So you've brought up so many good points. One is that period of stress and difficulty. You hit on this. I know a lot of women feel this way. You feel that confusion, right? Can you talk a little bit about that period in your life and what that was like when you felt maybe just uncertain, or you were not in a clear place with, you know, what you wanted to do?
Absolutely. That was a dark place. It really was. It was feeling like not only that I didn't know what I wanted to do, but more so why I wanted to do it. Like I was thinking, I definitely want to do art. I want to get back into this, but why? And that was actually a huge pain point for me in college too. They always wanted to know why you were painting what you were painting. It was never just art for art's sake. And so it was almost like that coming back into my life, and I'm saying, I still don't know the answer to this question. And so that gets kind of painful, because then it feels like you don't know yourself and you don't understand yourself and like what you're doing and why you're doing it. And it really took a toll on my sense of self-worth. And it just constantly had me questioning myself, and it was definitely a darker place. And I've been to some dark places.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what has been the benefit of finding yourself.
Absolutely. Having my mission now, after having gone through the program, I feel like fearless. I have this clarity that I definitely didn't have before. I understand my strengths and I understand how to speak to those and how they add value to an organization. I understand what it is that I want to do, and then how to apply that to anything that I'm doing, because it's coming from a place of understanding who I am and my values.
Hmm. Can you tell us what is your mission?
Absolutely. So my mission as it stood when the program was over is to create aesthetic experiences that tell a story, bring people together, and inspire the imagination.
Oh,
And that has since sort of expanded more specifically to the person who is experiencing the aesthetic experience, which I'll describe in a little bit. It's about basically creating pleasure for that person. And I mean that like pretty specifically, like not sexually or anything, but pleasure for that person in the experience that they're experiencing, whether that be with a painting or at an event or on my website or reading something, anything, just like their connection with that work, that it inspires them in some way and that it invites them to be present with the moment. That's really important to me. And I've identified throughout the program that self-awareness is very important to me. And so that sort of ties in with that piece there. And that's kind of how I've expanded the mission since then.
I love it. I want to talk a little bit about the how, because one of my favorite things that I've seen you do since joining the program and then graduating from the program is I feel like you're in constant action. So can you share a little bit more about how you're executing on your mission, specifically sharing your work and what you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the community, I can't remember, I think it was Kindle maybe that brought it up, having like a word for the year. And so my word this year was action. And I thought, if I'm taking action, I'm moving forward. Even if that action, like I say this when I go into my studio, even if I'm not in the mood to do it, just get in there and do it and make something anyway, just to keep the motivation and keep the momentum and keep moving forward. So a lot of the things I've been working on are mostly the 5 sort of larger moving parts of myself as a business, which are my portfolio. So I've been in my studio painting, doing drawings, making collages, and then if I don't know how many followers I have at this point, but if anybody is reading my blog, I am doing a design challenge this year where once a week I design something new graphically. So I'm putting all of my fine art training at the side of the table, and I'm kind of learning to take this to the computer because it seems to be a much more marketable skill in terms of career. And I like it. I've really been enjoying it. So I've been doing a challenge a week and posting those to my Facebook group and then to my blog and my Instagram. So that's like me growing my portfolio. The next big moving piece is the blog, which I've been actually writing consistently. So I'm kind of proud of myself. And I post there, and I'm talking really specifically about creating a consistent studio practice, getting in touch with yourself and using that in your work. And then just tips and tricks in the studio, ways you can do different things with paint. I'm hoping to start doing technique highlights at some point via video or photo sets. And then I'd also like to start rolling out artist spotlights probably around July. And this is all kind of speculative because I did like a very, very soft launch at the beginning of the year where I just started and I didn't really tell anyone. And so this is kind of like my first public notice of saying, hey, I have a blog. This is what's going on. So the blog, and then the social media piece. Instagram is my like main channel with for talking to my viewers. And then right now I'm trying to put together a mailing list for future correspondence. I'm using MailChimp to do that. So that's kind of another piece. And then the last big moving piece right now is building my website. And this is like the new thing that I decided to do that I know I never would have done had it not been for the confidence that I found taking the program. And that is learning web development. So I started taking HTML and CSS classes with a group called Girl Develop It Cincinnati chapter. And it was relatively inexpensive. They had a very intro to HTML, CSS class. And so I signed up for that and learned right away. And it was so much easier than I thought. And I think before the program, I definitely would have led with fear and let my fear keep me from signing up, keeping me from participating. I would have probably made excuses for myself and not done it. But having done it, I see now that it was like so worth it. I've met people. It was like I said, way easier than I thought it was going to be. And then I went from that, I wrapped that up last week, and then I went into the intermediate class this week. And so now I am building my own personal website from scratch, which is something I've always wanted to do. And it is really freaking cool.
That's amazing.
So those are the big 5 like moving pieces.
Yeah, which is incredible. And I want to hit on the confidence that you mentioned. But before I do that, I just want to share with everyone. So Leah made this for me. And it is, I love it so much. Leah sent this to me, and then she sent one to her coach, Kate, as well, after you graduated from the program. And honestly, it means so much to me. I love it so much. You are so talented. So it is just so, I feel so proud of you, hearing you share where you are right now, here, like seeing you put your work out there like this. To me, this is a reminder to just to be selfish for a minute. This is a reminder to me to just keep going in moments when I feel that disconnect or when I feel that stress. And I'm so grateful to you for that, Leah. And, I really want, I want everyone to, anyone here loves art, or you're just looking for some more inspiration, to really connect with you, because you have one of the biggest shifts that I've seen with you is your voice has evolved in a way where I sense this confidence from you and this fearlessness. And to me, it's really inspiring. So your Instagram, and I'm going to throw it out there, is Leah Suzette Creative Studio, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So check it out. Yeah, because your work is so beautiful, and what you create comes from such a deep place. And that, that is my goal through Work Bigger, whether it's through the community or the content or the program, whatever it is. I feel like that is what we should be tapping into when we're creating. So
absolutely.
Just wanted to share that. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the confidence piece, because I've felt this too, like that is such a roadblock. I think especially for women, it can feel really challenging to tap into our own confidence. So tell us a little bit about what you did in the program to help you connect with your confidence more.
Yeah, absolutely. So really working with you and then working with Kate directly was really kind of what pushed me out of my comfort zone. I felt safe, like it felt like a very safe space to say, I'm afraid to do this, and these pieces are making me feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway because I trust what you're telling me. Basically giving myself the freedom to just do it and just try, and if it feels uncomfortable for a little bit, whatever. And a lot of what Kate and I talked about in our sessions was self-worth. We talked a little bit about my past. Obviously, we got to know each other. So I was telling her kind of where I come from, the struggles that I had a little bit with my mother when I was growing up. We kind of struggled to get along. We are actually moving forward and getting better, I'm proud to say. But it really took a toll on my self-worth as I was growing up. I had troubles basically seeing the value that I could bring to the table. And what Kate often invited me to do was just to think about, let's say, this call. I know I said something in our sessions that I want to be Oprah, or like have this talk show like Oprah or something. And she invited me to just think about, what would that feel like if you were on a call like this? And it feels really cool. I'll say that right away. And to think like, you don't have to tell yourself no out of fear. And just inviting me to find ways to love myself. And a lot of those things involved just finding ways to parent myself. To tell myself when I was kind of being childish, and look for ways to cope with the things that were going on in my life, basically. Excuse me. And as I did that, my confidence started to shift. I started to understand the value that I could bring to the table, instead of saying like, oh, I'm just an artist, like I just paint and nobody cares about that. And, that was how I was talking about myself. And she invited me to change that language, and changing the language in my head has helped me tremendously. And I think going through like the strengths and weaknesses portion of the program, and when we were identifying like opportunities and things, and I know you did the short program to do that, that is such a core piece of it, being able to see those things about yourself. And then when we're invited to ask others what they think of us, it just changed my mindset. Like just going through all of that and talking with her and letting myself feel it and not telling myself that it was wrong to feel to feel worthless. So I'm like transitioning from feeling worthless to having self-worth, telling myself that it's not wrong to feel that way, and just let it pass, but just don't let it take over, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really important. And the two questions that come to mind for me, and I think I'd love for you to speak to this a little bit, because you were really nervous even after you applied. I remember getting on the phone with you and we were talking about your application, and I could sense you were excited, but I could also sense the apprehension that you felt. And again, like you and I were connected before the full program was even fully developed. So, like you said, like you didn't join right away, you weren't ready. Can you speak to that fear that you felt before joining, and then even like right before starting the course? Because I think a lot of people feel that. Like, what was that about?
Yeah, I definitely felt like, okay, I'm taking a financial leap. That was kind of a big deal for me because, like I said, financial problems, everybody's got them. And then I was fearing that I wouldn't I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. So you have to give yourself over to the process. And so my fear was that I wasn't going to let myself do that. I was afraid that I would just sign up and I was going to waste my money because I wasn't going to do it and I wasn't going to participate, and I would just be afraid to talk to people and branch out and open up and, whatever. And I just decided, you know what, no, this is going to be a turning point and I am going to just give myself over to this process. And that's really just doing that. And then once I've actually signed up with you and I like put down the deposit, I was like, no, this is it. I have one choice, and it's to do this and to go forward with it. And I think even just making that little choice started that, the confidence. I think even just making that choice started the confidence. And then once I started going through the program and realizing like, no, I'm really enjoying this. And then identifying that self-improvement in and of itself is one of my values, and growing personally and all of that stuff. So I would say the biggest fear for me was definitely that I wouldn't let myself do it, basically, mentally, if that makes any sense.
Totally. And I hear that all the time. And I feel like that can come from, so many different reasons. But what helped you surrender to the process? Because that's what I saw with you. Like you were an A++ student, and I was in awe of how you surrendered to the process. So what helped you get there?
Honestly, what finally pushed me over the edge, I have been struggling a little bit with my work. And I'm not talking about my personal work. I'm talking about my 8 to 5, and not to talk bad about them at all, because they've been great to me, very generous. It's just doing like admin kind of stuff. It's really gotten me burnt out. Mm-hmm. And I had finally reached this point where I came home one night and I completely broke down to my boyfriend. I said, I can't do this anymore. This is driving me crazy. Like I cried and I wanted to scream, and I was on my studio room floor, and I thought, is this what the rest of my life is going to be? Is it going to be this one track that's like the default track that everybody follows in life, that like go to school, get a job, work 9 to 5 and save some money and, whatever the American dream is, whatever. Right. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I can't keep doing this, because art is part of who I am as a human being. And if I'm not doing it, even if it's on the side or if it's professionally or whatever, I'm going to break down and I'm going to eventually just slowly decay over time. And so it was basically that pushed me to something that I felt was going to initiate a change. Mm-hmm. I was at this place that was almost, I don't want to say it was one of the darkest places I've been to, because like I said, I've definitely, I've struggled with mental health in the past, and I've had some really dark times, but I was starting to fall back into that place where most days were more sad and angry than they were happy and joyful. Things that I had once enjoyed were really starting to just wear me down. Working with people that may trigger me in the office, because you have people everywhere that you don't get along with, but it was getting to the point where I was letting it destroy me from the inside out. And I thought, there has to be a change that I can make to move my life forward towards a career and towards a dream that I truly, truly believe in. And everything that you had been talking about on the blog up until that point, finding work that aligned with who you are and with your values. Like you said, work becoming a manifestation of who you are and a vehicle that you can use for change for some things that you care about. That was resonating with me. Yeah. And I was thinking, this is it. Like, this is going to be the thing that is going to be the catalyst for something great. And I was so not wrong. I was not wrong. So I will never regret that I did it. Like I said, with the financial thing, again, I went ahead and put it on a credit card, and I viewed it as an investment in myself. Mm-hmm. I said, it is time to take my life into my own hands, get off the default track, stop listening to the shoulds, stop listening to the you need to do this from myself, from other people, and do you, do me, as they say. Just do what I felt was truly right for me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. So I would love to hear, and I'm going to check in real quick to see if there are any comments, because I saw a few ladies giving us some likes. Hi. Oh, hi, Lindsay. She said, hashtag, I know what that's like. We all have so much reprogramming to do. Oh my God, absolutely.
Yes.
Hi, Allison. She said, go, Leah. Hi, Kate. Oh, your coach Kate is on here.
Hi, Kate.
Said, congrats on this feature. I'm so proud of you and all of you and all that you continue to do.
Aw.
So awesome to see you ladies on here. Who else do we have on? Hi, Laura. I hope you're still watching. So Leah, share with us now, what is possible now that, the biggest, I hear a lot in what you're saying. The biggest is tapping into your self-worth, getting clarity on what you want, tapping into who you are and pursuing that, right? Going forward, executing on it, taking action. What is possible for you now moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. The biggest thing for me is taking action, instead of hiding away from things, I will now go to networking events. I will now put myself out there and be just open to any opportunities that might come my way. But the biggest change that I've found is that even though I'm doing something that I don't necessarily love on a 9-to-5 basis, I can deal with it. I can deal with it mentally, because I know that on the side I'm working on things that are coming from a place of who I am. They're coming from my heart. They're coming from my light, and I'm sharing that with the world. So I feel like I get triggered a lot less. I know that word kind of gets thrown around, but that's kind of how I describe it. Like, when something bugs me, I'm one of those people that's very emotional, and so I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when something bugs me, it really just tears away at me, and you'll know it, like, all day. It's like I can't put on that face very easily.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yes. Yeah. But now that I'm kind of doing mission-driven work on the side, instead I come to my place of employment and I say, how can I bring this happiness? How can I bring this light here? How can I make aesthetic experiences at work? And I'll seriously tell you, a lot of it is with planning our events. So we do a lot of like conferences and things like that, lunch and learns. And so I put those together, and I just try to come to it from a place of, how do I make this an aesthetic experience?
Yeah.
How do I make this awesome for everybody involved? I do it with I keep things clean at the office. I just try to make it so that, like I said, you're present when you're here. There's nothing here that's bothering you. There's nothing that's like offbeat. Everything is like together. So it's really kind of changed my attitude towards work, my 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And then it's definitely opened me up to going the extra mile to do the things that I want to do. Like I said, I was taking the coding class, and it's at night. It's at 7 to 9 right now. And I think previously I might have been like, that's late, I'm not going to do it. But now I'm like, you know what? I've got the energy. I'm going to make the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing I want to call out, so there's different tracks in the program that you can fall into, right? There's
right.
Launching a business and focusing on your business, which oftentimes too, what I see happening in the program is, if you can't afford to jump into your business full time, you have to find a way to bring in some income. So that could be lining up some freelance work, staying at your 9-to-5, but putting less energy toward that in some way.
Right.
So, or, other tracks are launching a freelance career full time. That is completely possible, especially with where the workplace is today. We've talked about that before in other Facebook Live calls. And then the other track is transitioning to a whole new 9 to 5 if you know that you want to stay within an organization. In your case, Leah, so I love what you said, because your energy is focused, and this came up too. You're like, I have these 3 different tracks, like which one should I pursue? And there comes a point in the program where you have to decide, like, well, there's ways to make things work. Yeah. So for you, it's focusing on your business. That's where your heart and your energy go into, and leveraging that to get through your 9 to 5 for right now, right? Because it is temporary. That 9 to 5 is supporting your larger mission. And I think and not to say anything negative about your 9 to 5, because it's not about that.
It's just thinking about it in a different way, just coming at it with a different mental approach, and being grateful. I think the gratitude is really a big piece.
Exactly, so that you could move forward, make more progress with your business versus being in a place, being in a negative place, which I think makes everything harder. You're not able to really thrive with your business that way. You're definitely not bringing your best self to your 9 to 5. So there's going to come a point for you when, you're going to leave that 9 to 5, and it's probably going to be sooner than and that's based on my personal experience too. And that's because Work Bigger started with me having a full-time job and then transitioning to a part-time role. So I know what that is like, and what you're saying resonates with me so much on a personal level.
And your journey has resonated with me for the same reason, having that 9 to 5 and being able to negotiate working part-time so that you can pursue the things that truly, truly matter to who you are.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yes.
Let's see. I know we're at our time, and I know you're at work, so I don't want to keep you
you're fine.
That much longer. I'm going to see, does anyone have any questions for Leah, whether it's about her work? Because I have one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll have to tell me, because I don't see any of the questions coming up or anything.
Totally. You mentioned, so I know you are pursuing, like, working heavily on getting your art business going right now, and you're at your 9 to 5. Is there anything else that you want to share with us in terms of what else you're doing to help you move forward? And I mean, you already shared a lot, so if there isn't, that's totally fine. But I'm thinking of the women in the group. This question actually came up today from someone who applied to the Work Bigger program. She's talking about career transitions and how she just feels really stuck. And she's looking to make a change. And I think her problem, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more when I jump on my call with her, but making a transition, making that experience transferable. Is there anything else that you can share in terms of that specific question? Like, for someone who's looking to leave their industry altogether, but they're feeling really stuck.
Yeah, definitely. So just looking for the transferable skills. I actually identified in the program, so like I said, I'm in marketing now, that it wasn't necessarily marketing that I didn't like, but I think want the opportunity to get into an industry where you can work with a variety of clients instead of like one specific thing, but transferring those skills that I've learned here, transferring the skills that I've learned as an artist, and being able to say, these are my strengths, organization, communication, being sympathetic, being a people person, being able to connect with people. How do you apply that to something totally different? Because I'm certainly not a web developer. I've never done anything in web development until right now, but it's ultimately showing me that there's a way to take the art that I have, my skills as an organizer and a communicator, and apply that to something like building a website. So I've just taken those skills and found a way to transfer them into something that's a little more lucrative. I'm obviously not doing anything with that yet, and I was going to talk to Velma. You had mentioned the 3 tracks that you can take in the program: the 9 to 5, and the freelance, and then start your own business. I think I did 9 to 5, like transferring to a new 9 to 5, which seemed like an immediate need. But I have ultimately sort of transferred that into doing following a freelance track. So essentially, instead of thinking of what I'm doing as starting a business, I'm running myself as a business. So like ultimately, I would be a freelance designer. artist and designer that can take on basically any project that you need, which is kind of how I'm building the website at this point too. And that's cool. But yeah,
That's
taking
awesome.
those skills and just taking the strengths and then just finding ways to transfer that. How does that apply to something else?
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I love that you called out the track that you started on and that you shifted to,
Yeah.
because I think that's really huge. You have access to all three forever.
Yeah.
So if down the line, like right now you want to transition to a new 9 to 5, if that's your priority, that's what we work on. If 2 years from now you want to start your own business, you have that framework as well.
Right.
So wanted to call that out because I think that's important.
And then to answer your question about, I'm working specifically, and this is actually, I haven't really talked about it yet, but I am working on putting together a pop-up show that I'm hoping to host in September. So I'm working on a full collection that I will basically show. I'm trying to find like a gallery space, a venue, hopefully something free, and then just do like a pop-up one night, come see the work, wine and refreshments, that kind of thing. And the work right now, as far as I've been in my process, the theme is darkest places. Honestly, working through a lot of the things that I was working through before I started the program, because of course feelings and things with parents, those things linger, and just finding ways to process that, process the self-worth issue. And I'm hoping to have like a philanthropic piece where some of the proceeds are going to like a mental health organization. So I'm kind of researching organizations right now too. And if anybody has any to suggest, that would be great. But yeah, that's kind of like the big piece I'm working on in the studio that isn't like graphic or digital.
That's amazing.
I'm excited for it.
Yes, please let us know when you have that, when you have that up.
Absolutely, I will.
Yeah.
I wish I was in New York. That'd be a great place to show.
I know, me too. But we're, a lot of our events are here right now, but we're growing. So soon we're going to start, expanding to other areas, which is fun.
Amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't see any additional questions, but I do want to call out, ladies, feel free to, I'm going to offer this up, Leah. I hope that's okay. Feel free to hit up Leah in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she is just, you're awesome and you're so active. Yeah. And I think you just have you add so much value to Work Bigger and what we're creating here. It's really, yeah, and I appreciate it so much because community is about people coming together, and you do that, and and I really value it. So, and I know the other ladies do too. So feel free
thank you.
to hit up Leah if you have any questions. They could be here, they could be offline, however you want. I'm also happy to put you in touch with her. And then the details on the program, if you're looking for more information, there's a link here. So definitely check it out. It is an amazing, life-changing program, and I can say that with confidence because I absolutely love it. The program has come about, like Leah, you were talking about the blog and how the stories on the blog resonated with you. And to me, the program sort of came about by accident. That was like my manifestation of my work and what I wanted to create because of all the experiences that I went through in my career transition too.
Yeah.
And the program takes you really deep so that you can get to know yourself, figure out what you want, and then execute on that. We're very much big on action. But yeah, take a look at the link if you have any questions, and we're here for you. If you have any questions, just reach out. But thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Leah. We went over our time. I know you have to run.
It's Friday. Everybody's relaxed on Friday here.
Good. Good. Yes, and I'm going to do our celebration post so that we can share what we're celebrating.
Yes, Friday, celebrate on Friday. Exactly. I'm celebrating that I'm taking off on Monday.
Me too, kind of. I'm working a half day, but.
Gotcha.
All right, well, thank you so much, and we'll chat soon. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.